Hey guys, Big Apple here with another video. Today, talking to you about concealed carry. And when someone tells you, oh, you need a reason to carry a gun. Well, we're going to break these down because this statement assumes a lot of things. And a lot of things that people don't even realize. So, first thing that people always point to, well, do you have a stalker? Have you been raped? Have you been beaten before? They assume that something bad has to happen to you first. And while the chances of you being raped, assaulted, robbed, whatever are low, the chances of it happening again are very, very slim. Concealed carry is not about band-aiding, it's about prevention. So if you've been raped once already, that could have been prevented by you having been armed and, and legally licensed to carry. If you've been robbed before and that happened to you, you having a gun now has no effect on that happening in the past. If you had already carried in the past, you could have possibly prevented it from happening to you in the first place. So when someone said something bad has to happen to you first, well, that's just ridiculous. The chances of it happening to you once are small. The chances of something happening to you again are even less. So you would actually need less of a reason to carry if something bad hasn't already happened to you. It's just, I don't know. That statement's just, that assumption's ridiculous. Well, what if you're famous and well known? Well, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of elitism. They're usually constantly surrounded by personal security anyway, so who are they to tell you that you can't do what you want to do? So the main thing I'm referring to is the Demand a Plan video where all these famous actors and actresses all of a sudden are experts on self-defense and say that you don't need 10 rounds, you don't need more than 10 rounds to defend yourself, and assault weapons are bad and whatever, and they're usually constantly surrounded by personal security. So why do they have any bearing on the way I defend myself? Your life is much more important to you than a celebrity's life is to you. Your life is the most precious thing you own. You want to defend it with any means possible, even if it's lethal force. So you choosing to carry one of these is you taking responsibility for your own safety. You are responsible for your own safety. You don't need to be famous to take this responsibility. You don't have to be big and bad and be a well-known person to want to carry a gun. You just have this as a last resort to defend yourself. You're taking responsibility for your safety. So you're better than someone else, or AKA your life is less important. So this is kind of tied in with the last one. You don't need to be important to take responsibility for your safety. If anyone holds a high position at a job, or somebody is higher up in a company or whatever, they aren't better than you. Their life isn't more precious to you than yours is. Your life is the most precious thing to you. You should be able to take responsibility to defend that. All right, another one is you have a dangerous job. While this may be a good reason to carry it, this doesn't mean that other people should not be allowed to if they don't have the same profession. Anyone has the ability of facing the exact same criminal elements. So you have a dangerous job. Say you have an armored truck, you transport, hazardous chemicals, or you transport money, you work for a bank, or maybe you're in law enforcement, and obviously that's a very dangerous job. But just because you have a good reason to carry, this doesn't mean that because someone else doesn't have that same job, they shouldn't be able to also. You have the possibility of facing the exact same threats on a daily basis that anyone in law enforcement does. And while they run towards it and you try to avoid it, which is understandable, their chances of them seeing it are much greater. That doesn't mean that the chances of you seeing it are completely zero. You have a chance, you run the risk every time you walk out of the door of your house of somebody robbing you in your front yard. It's just the chances of that happening are very low. But if it does happen, it's probably better to be prepared than to be not prepared. So you frequent bad areas. Well, this ties in with the previous one about having a dangerous job. Criminals will come from bad areas to good areas to rob people who they know won't fight back. Why would they rob the other gangster who also lives down the street and has no possessions? So criminals will not rob other people in their area. I mean, just think about it. If, this criminal's a drug dealer and he's, dealing coke or meth or whatever, and he, just needs money on a whim, why would he go down the street and try to rob money from the rival gangster who would probably have him killed by his other gangsters, later that week or that night or that day or anything? Criminals will come to the areas where they know people have possessions. So for you to say, oh yeah, you frequent a bad area, this is probably a reason for you to carry. While it's a good reason for you to carry, it's not a reason that someone else shouldn't be able to. We can face the exact same criminal element anywhere. If you live in a nice neighborhood, well, guess what? Criminals probably want a lot of those things that are in your house. They probably want a lot of the things in other houses. So why would they stay in their area and, rob the other scum of the earth for whatever little possessions they have when they know where all the rich people live? It makes no sense. So you prepare for worse and hope for the best. This kind of sums up concealed carry in a nutshell. Criminals will usually strike in areas where they're unexpected, and this ties in with the last thing I said. People always say, oh, this area has always been safe until this happened. Well, an area is only considered safe until something bad happens. Put it that way, okay? A campus, Virginia Tech, was seen as a safe place, being a gun-free zone in 2007, until 32 people were murdered there. And while it's still a pretty safe area, while most campuses are considered a safe area, a lot of them borderline heavy metropolitan areas that have a lot of gang activity and a lot of crime. So the chances of that overflowing into a safe area exists. That risk is there. So there's no reason. That kind of goes into gun-free zones and why I think they're dumb, but I'll do that in another video. But that kind of ties into what I'm saying here. Criminals will go in areas where they're unexpected. They're going to go where they know that they can get soft targets, where they can rob, rape, pillage, kill, cut anyone that they want to, because they know the chances of them reaping the repercussions, be killed by other gangsters or being caught by police are very low. They're going to strike in areas where they're unexpected. So the best way of providing for your children's safety while they're in your presence is to carry. Even if you have some sort of martial arts experience, a firearm is still king. So, if you're a parent, I'm not a parent yet, so I can't relate to this, but when I do have kids, I do not plan at all on changing this. Have some sympathy for the kids, feel bad for the kids. Why have this around the kids? This is my means of protecting my kids. I would want this with me more when they're in my presence, because most likely when I have kids, I'm going to value their life more than my own. So why would I not want this when I'm around my kids? Oh, be sensitive, have some sympathy for the kids, so they're not around dangerous things. Well, this is in my possession. As long as it's not in their possession, I can use it as a means to protect them. Plain and simple. That's my most effective means. And even if I have some sort of hand-to-hand combat experience, this is still going to be the best thing. And why would I want to get into a fist fight while my kid is just standing there? It's just ridiculous. You don't have to be you don't have to be a big tough guy and want to defend yourself with your hands all the time if you have the means to do this. Anyway, sorry, this gets me riled up. So, self-defense encounters are unforeseeable and unexpected. If people knew when and where criminals were to strike, criminals would not exist. So a lot of people don't think about this. If we knew where criminals were going to be and when they would attack, they wouldn't exist. The definition of a criminal would be probably something else, or the word wouldn't even exist, because we could foresee bad things happening and prevent them from happening. But I can't. It's unforeseeable and unexpected, and I can't prevent something from happening to me. Just like every time you get into your car, you put on your seatbelt. When I leave my house, I usually put this on me just in case something were to happen. I put on my seatbelt just in case I get in a wreck, even though for the most part I feel I'm a good driver and I still haven't been in a wreck yet. So stack the cards in your favor, not the criminal's favor. This is why shotguns and carbines are not overkill for home defense. When someone acts surprised, oh, why do you need that to defend your home? That's ridiculous. You don't need a 12 gauge to defend your home. They're the most effective means, and the criminal's not the victim, you are. So why would you want to victimize the criminal? Oh, you shouldn't shoot him with a shotgun or a rifle in your own home. That's ridiculous. Excuse me, I didn't tell him to come to my house. He came here willingly to do whatever it is he wanted to do to me and my family. So that's that. Before deciding to carry, be sure you possess the responsibility and maturity to do so. And if you do carry 24/7, 365, as much as you can. Or Nothing Fancy, also on YouTube, says that you should carry about 90% of the time. And I agree with him. I think that's a good percentage. There may be times when you don't want it. You may not carry in your house all the time. I don't carry in my house. I usually have one close by, but I don't carry in my house. And I don't see a reason to carry all the time. I don't have to carry in my sleep, obviously. But I think you should have a high percentage of carry when you do leave your house if you decide to take on the responsibility to carry. But you have to be sure you possess the responsibility and maturity to carry also. And I'll address that in another video. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.